What's going on, everyone? The New York Knicks missed out on trading for Donovan Mitchell, and it was a shock to many people. I mean, the Knicks looked prime and ready to acquire Donovan Mitchell. We're going through the back and forth, and then the Cleveland Cavaliers came out of nowhere and swooped up Donovan Mitchell. It was reported that the Knicks didn't even have a chance to respond. Then the Knicks, per Woj, put out some, trade that they were willing to offer, whether that was true or not, or just them being salty. Whatever ended up happening, it happened. Donovan Mitchell didn't go to the Knicks. Cue the Jordan crying face over on the Knicks logo. But the Knicks need to figure out what they're going to do now, right? One of the reasons that they wanted to do a 3-team deal with the Lakers was to clear salary, right? They wanted to move off of a guy like Fournier, throw in Cam Reddish, stuff like that. And they wanted to work out a 3-team deal because the Knicks really need to move off a salary. They just extended RJ Barrett. They have Julius Randle to a ridiculous contract that he last year really didn't live up to. Evan Fournier's got a couple years on his deal. So the Knicks are kind of stuck right now with the team that they currently have unless they can make some changes. Well, it was reported earlier today that the Knicks are looking to acquire Russell Westbrook. That now that they've missed out on Donovan Mitchell, they want to go get Russell Westbrook in a deal for salary. Now, again, Russell Westbrook would not be playing for the Knicks because I know there's going to be somebody in the comment section that's like, why would the Knicks want Russell Westbrook when, Jalen Brunson is the starting point guard? No, it's not for that. It's to clear off salary. The reason a lot of these teams really want Russell Westbrook is because he is a board wipe. He is a salary clearing wipe. That is really good for those teams like the Knicks, who just got Jalen Brunson, who have, Mitchell Robinson, you have RJ Barrett. Those are the guys you're kind of trying to build this team around, right? So all of the other bad contracts you're in, you want to move off of. Well, the Lakers want Cam Reddish. So you try to work something out, to maybe they'll take on Fournier. Maybe the Lakers will take on Reddish. Maybe they'll take on another piece. It's not out of the realm of possibility. Obviously, at the Knicks, if they could get a draft pick in the process, but I think this is more so like they just need to clear salary rather than they're trying to gain assets. I just think they're trying to pivot to another direction. Okay, we weren't able to get Mitchell, so let's, unload some of these, long-term salary guys or some of these guys that just have big salaries to try to get some of the younger guys, like Quentin Grimes, things like that, allow them to get more play time, more shine, and kind of see what we got with these younger guys and start making moves for the future, right? Because if you could move off of like a Fournier, Cam Reddish, maybe a Derrick Rose, something like that, then you basically have some more salary to go and look in other areas. So that's why the Knicks want a guy like Russell Westbrook. They would buy him out, and then Russ would go and play for another team, right? I don't believe Russ would play for the Knicks whatsoever. He very likely would go elsewhere. But you never know. I mean, Russ on the Knicks with Jalen Brunson at the 2, your backcourt defensively is going to be terrible. But depending on what you move, it might be worth it for the Knicks to actually at least experiment with Russ for a little bit, because, he also would put butts in the seats. There was a lot of talks about the Knicks acquiring Russell Westbrook, even at some points last season, for that very reason, to kind of put some butts in the seats. You're probably not winning a championship regardless this year. So do you really want to just buy him out when you could try to make it work and then maybe get rid of him at some point or send him home? It gives the Knicks options. I don't think personally he will ever play in a Knicks uniform, but it is something that the Knicks could explore if they wanted to. So very likely if the Knicks were to acquire Russell Westbrook, they would end up sending Cam Reddish, Evan Fournier, and then maybe another piece like a Derrick Rose, maybe a Julius Randle. I know some people really want Randle. I absolutely do not. I want the Lakers to stay as far away from Julius Randle as possible. He was worse statistically in every category than Russell Westbrook. The fit is a big question, just like Russ. Is he going to start? The whole reason you went and got Thomas Bryant and you got Damian Jones was so Davis could play the 4. Yeah, Randle would give you that insurance in case, Anthony Davis is gone. And if Randle can become that Julius Randle from 2 years ago, that was like a 40% three-point shooter, nearly averaged a triple-double every night. If you get that guy, then yeah, there's some value there. But here's the thing. I don't think he's anywhere close to that guy. if I'm being honest, I don't think he was anywhere close to the guy from last year. I think he went and just had an incredible year and then followed that up with the worst year of his career since his rookie season. And then I think he's somewhere in the middle. I think he is not that great, but he's not that bad. He's just an average guy that the Knicks just dumped a bunch of money in. Evan Fournier, I would more than happily take Evan Fournier. Cam Reddish, obviously, I'd be more than happy to take Cam Reddish. You could go and get that, especially if we don't have to give up draft picks. And I know somebody in the comments could be like, why would the Knicks help the Lakers and not take draft picks? It's because the Knicks need the help. They have a ridiculous salary cap right now after the Jalen Brunson signing, RJ Barrett signing, and they need to clear some of these guys off their books to help, alleviate some of the salary space. You really want to be this heavily into the cap when you're not going to be a contender, when you might not even be a playoff team? They're not delusional. Leon Rose is not delusional. I think he'll probably get some seconds or some pieces or something like that. But this isn't about let's go get first round draft picks from the Lakers. This is about we need to clear some contracts off of our books. Cam Reddish wants a new change of scenery. He asked for a trade. So the Lakers, we almost had to deal with the Lakers. If we can move off of Evan Fournier and a Derrick Rose, something like that, then there you go. Then we'll take that. We'll take on the salary. We'll buy him out. Like I said, if they want, they can run it with them, but I think they'll buy him out, and then the Lakers get some assets. Now, I personally, and I've gone into these debates into the comment section, Evan Fournier, I would rather have Evan Fournier over Buddy Hield. If you go look up their stats, Evan Fournier is light years better defensively. Evan Fournier is just slightly above league average defensively, not by much, so he's basically around league average, something like that. Buddy Hield is 4 or 5 points under league average defensively. He's terrible defensively. If you go look at their numbers, Evan Fournier averaged 1 point less than Buddy Hield the last several years, has shot a better 3-point percentage, a better field goal percentage, and has shot a similar volume. So the guy's not far off from Buddy Hield, will give you that shooting, but also will give you some defense. The beauty of Buddy Hield is that guy will go get you 15 a game and knock down 5 threes, but he's also probably going to give up 20. So he's a net positive. I mean, his net rating, everything. Go look at his stats. Go look at his true stats, everything. The only thing that he is better at is the true shooting, which is all of your shooting combined. He's better. He's definitely a better shooter than Fournier overall, but not by much. Not by much at all. So I would rather have the guy that's very similar to Buddy Hield, but can actually play some defense. Cam Reddish would give us that big wing that could play the 3. He could play the 4 in some spots, stuff like that. He could be a real stud for the Lakers. Look, I am super high on Cam Reddish. I just think he hasn't gotten a fair shake and a fair opportunity. Went to Atlanta team that ended up going a veteran route to try to win now, and he ends up getting traded. Tibbs did not want Cam Reddish at all. He told the Knicks, Leon Rose, don't go get Cam Reddish. And they still went and got Cam Reddish. So Cam Reddish was in the doghouse the moment he got there. And that's why he wants to change his scenery. He's not playing. Tibbs doesn't want him there. So trade me. Get rid of me. Send me elsewhere. So I think Cam Reddish could be a real solid player. Then it just comes down to very likely what is the third piece, because there's probably going to have to be a third piece. Now, could you get a top-in? Maybe. If I'm being honest, I doubt it. But, I think if you're the Lakers, you ask. Do you try to get some of the young guys and give up a first? What if you could get, a top-in and a quickly? Do you maybe give up a first-round pick? I don't think that I'm not saying the Knicks would trade him. That's not what I'm saying at all. But it's just, you at least ask if you're the Lakers, right? You got to at least say, hey, you want some of our picks? Well, we want some of your young guys. Let's go get a Cam Reddish, give us Cam Reddish, Evan Fournier, and Toppin, or quickly, or both. We'll give you a first or something like that. Again, don't think it happens, but it's at least worth a conversation. But realistically, if the Lakers would do a trade like this, it would very likely be Cam Reddish. It would likely be Evan Fournier. And then probably, I would say Derrick Rose. You probably get Derrick Rose in the thing, because then you don't have to go get another, you don't have to go get another point guard. You basically got Derrick Rose as your point guard. You could start Kendrick Nunn if you want. So that would probably be my guess, is you'd get like a Reddish, Fournier, Rose, stay as far away from Julius Randle. But here's the thing. How does this stack up compared to, say, the Jazz deal or the Pacers deal? The concern is the contracts of Rose and the contracts of Evan Fournier. But if you don't have to give up any picks, that might not be the worst thing in the world, right? Like, if you don't have to give up any picks, you could always use those picks to move off of Fournier. Like, not saying, Kyrie does come, but like, that seems to be why the Lakers are preserving cap space. They think Kyrie Irving. I know people are like, let the Kyrie Irving thing go, but look, it's a reality. The Lakers are trying to preserve cap space just in case Kyrie Irving comes. Whether you think he comes or not, that doesn't matter. What matters is the Lakers are trying to preserve cap space. So if you're the Lakers and you don't have to give up picks to do this deal because you're helping it's a mutually beneficial exchange. You need to unload salary. We're willing to take these guys. You take the guys, you're good for the season. And then, you have those picks that you could do, like Fournier would be an expiring contract. Derrick Rose is on a reasonable contract. You could use those picks to unload those guys to go get Kyrie Irving if he wants to come. If he doesn't want to come, then you just keep the guys and you still have your first. So I think it's a good situation to be in. But is this a better, like, is Fournier, Rose, and Reddish better than like a Bogdanovich, say Beasley and let's say Clarkson, right? Let's say you get that. So Clarkson, Beasley, Bogdanovich. Are those three better than Evan Fournier, Rose, and Cam Reddish? I don't think so. I really don't. The problem is you're Rose, I have my concerns with, injuries, stuff like that, but he can really light it up. And I think he would be serviceable, but how does he fit next to LeBron, Davis, stuff like that? I don't think Derrick Rose would start, but I think that this trade would be comparable to the Jazz trade, especially if you don't have to give up draft picks. If you could get Reddish, Fournier, and Rose, I would do that. I would take that because you get Fournier, he comes in, he's basically your buddy Hield or Bogdanovich, just younger and better defensively. So you get the shooting. You get Cam Reddish, who gets to be your big 3-and-D guy. Like, you could start Patrick Beverley, Evan Fournier, Cam Reddish. LeBron's going to be your point guard. Davis, or have Beverley come off the bench, and you have LeBron, you have Fournier, Reddish, Davis, and Bryant. You could go that route too. It gives you some flexibility. I don't know. I actually think that this trade would be comparable and wouldn't be a bad trade, especially if you don't have to give up a pick. If you have to give up a first-round pick, I wouldn't do it. Because outside of Fournier, there's too many questions. With Cam Reddish, he's definitely a low-risk, high-reward type guy, but you don't really know how much of a contributor he's going to be. Evan Fournier, he can be a contributor. That's great. But Derrick Rose, too, his injury history, stuff like that. If you have to give up a first, I don't do that trade. I'd rather do the Jazz trade. But if you could get those three and not give up a single pick, I would do that. Or if you give up a couple seconds or something, or like a pick swap, something like that just to appease them, then yeah, cool. If you don't have to give up any first, I would do this deal. I would take this deal. But what do you think? What deal do you think is preferable? Do you think the Knicks deal, Jazz deal, or the Pacers deal? Which one of those would you rather have? Are you like, hey, look, whatever it takes to get rid of Westbrook? How do you feel about it? I'd love to hear your thoughts and opinions and your takes down in the comment section. That being said, hit that like button. Helps me out a lot. Lets me know you enjoy these types of videos, and I truly appreciate it. If you're not subscribed to the channel, hit that subscribe button, followed by the bell notification. Stay up to date with all things sports. Join this wonderful community and all of our discussions. I'll see you all in the next one. Thank you.